Well, this is Kavanah de Mechasphira. So I just brought this idea in. V'imhu ba'osam leilos shebein Pesach l'tzeres shehem yimei hasphira. Kavav v'omruchu ha'avor b'saka daded. So you should have this kavanah on this pasuk. El misbach yimei hasphira shehem memtes minyan adadem. So this phrase adadem, if you add it up, it comes out to be 49. Now there's no depth here. We're just reading for Bekias. Kavanah's mizmar ya'anacha. So now we're in Tikkun Leah. V'achakach yomer mizbach ya'anach Hashem b'yom tzara kula. V'tikavach b'shloshacha b'vayis the ben. So in here, now I don't know where this is. But he says we have to get into it to see it. B'shloshacha b'vayis the ben. The milui hay, and that's what ben is, the chavaya of milui hay, and sheyesh bezecha mizmor that you have in this mizmor. Kmo shebe'artecha b'seder tefillah shakris be'be'er zecha mizmor. V'tikavin ki ayin tevin shebezecha mizmor. There are 70 words in this word. Heim ayin kolim the remols yilusa, of the voice of the Ilusa, I guess it means the yearning of the sound it makes as it yearns. Going on, he says, V'tikavein, you should have this idea. Ki Roshe Tevez Yanech Hashem Biyom Tzara, which would be Yud, then I guess would be, it sounds like Yud Beis Tzadi. Let's see, but Gematria Yabuk comes to the gematria of 112. What's 112? Shasodo is the melding, I guess, of the word Havaya Elokem. O Gam came Ek Yehavaya Adni. That also gets you the gematria of 112. Now Yabuk is the river that flows. That's the wrong word. That splits. Became Rosh Teva, so it's the river that's flowing down. Became Roshi Tevus v'naflo anachto kamno, that also has a gematria of Yabuk. V'anachto kamno v'nisodad Roshi Tevus b'gematria once again Yabuk. Ya'aneno b'yom kareno Roshi Tevus Yabuk. So there's a lot of Yabuks here. The detail of this, I don't really know what it does in this pasuk, in this mizmor. But he says it has to do with the concept of 112, and it has to do with the number 70. Gam tikaven ki Roshe Teva v'nisoded Hashem Hoshia HaMelech, hu echad meyud beit tziruf echad b'vayev, who it goes like this. If you take this in nisoded, vav vav, yud, hey, hey. So this is what he has down here. It comes into this. Now what is vav, yud, hey, hey? It's like the male aspect, and we're not getting into it, just a little bit that I know about it, is that the male aspect is at the beginning, and it's out of order. So we have the Vav being mashpir to the Yud, and the Yud into the K, and then it ends up with another K. So din at the end. So he says, a little disruption and a din at the end. He says, V'acher kach, tomer mizmor elokim yechanenu. Now it's really yearning. And you answered her with this phrase, that's her Sarah, is that she's separated from Zeranpin, from Tiferes. Then we asked about her, Anu Yisrael HaTachtonim, we are this low element. In this low element, which is this world. So Kavana the Mecha Svira, so he adds this in also. V'dashi b'mecha omer tekaveh b'kol teva v'teva b'kol os v'os min hanogim amiyuchadim la'os ha'layla. Kaniska b'dras Svira sa'omer v'ayin sham, so that's over there. Mizmor Halaluka, he said Odet, so there's that Mizmor, also part of also of the Tikkun Leah. V'dabki Kavanas Elach Mizmorim, Heim Inyan Zivug Leah v'Iburach v'Ledaso. This is the yichud that takes place in Leah. Her her pregnancy and giving birth. So the talking ba'od laila, which is that even though it's dark at nighttime, I will gut while it's still nighttime. V'schor zeh heitev, understand this well, remember it well. L'chein tomer mizmor halaluka ha'odach Hashem b'kol levav, call the mizmor kula, you say the entire mizmor. V'tikavin, what's the kavana over there when you're saying that? Ki yesh b'mizmor zeh kaf beis osius alpha beis akanaida, so it has, this mizmor has 22 letters in it. He said, so he says it has 22 letters of the in the order of the alphabet. So he says, v'lechein achar she'tesayim ha'mizbech tekavein od b'chamisha osius mansapach. So when you finish it, you should have in mind the other additional 5 letters. Asher bechem nishta b'kaf zayin osu shel al the beta. So he says that to the alphabet, the aleph base, he says you're going to complete it to the whole 27 letters. Ki elo heim bebechinas tzir havlad b'kaf zayin osios elo. So he says the formation of the vlad has a great deal to do with the addition of these gevuros, which are these 5, the mansapach. B'kaf zayin osios elo. V'havin says, so understand this. He wants to give us a bracha. We should be able to understand that. There's obviously a lot more to be said about it. So kavan the shem echad kadosh ha'sholet acher chatzos alayla. What is that name? So he says that there's a special name. Gam tekaven b'chamisha osius mansapach. Shehem shem echad kadosh. That this name actually is, let's see how this goes, is echad kadosh ha'sholet acher chatzos alayla, which is in control after midnight. So he says, Achar Laila Kenizgar Bezohar Meparsha Shalach L'cho. V'gam Tekavim El Shlosha Shemos Aniskarim Sham. So also you should have kavanah for this. V'heim Ba'ofen Zeh Kalacha Sa'afa, these names Ya'atz. So let's say Ki Shem is Zecher Yotzim B'chamisha Osius Mansapach Kenizgar. We'd have to go into that in detail to really understand what this is about. So once again, he said, the Inyan is like this. B'chatzos alayla, Rishon, the first half of the night, the Sakna Leah, called Evarecho Leah, Leah gets all of her different, she becomes built, and all of her different parts. V'kulam heim gevuros v'dinim, and all of the parts of Leah are gevuros and dinim. B'sod masha be'arte b'parshas bo, Daf Lamed Ches on the base, he said, Besod Naira V'nar, those 2 words. Because once again, this is something that could take a lot more interest to look into it. Rosh Nair Shehi Shach Kochos Din Kaminyan Nar, which is referring to. So let me go back just a little bit. Barosha Tables Nafla Ateres Roshcha, which though the first letters are Nafla, fell, Ataris Roshacha, the crown of your head, Roshenu, the crown on our head. The Rosh Table spelled the word Nar. Shehem Shach Nar is a gematria 320, and it refers to this is what fell on our head. The Shach Kochos Adin Miminyan Nar, which had the same minyan. V'achar Chatzos Laila, then he said, though what happens like now, after midnight, he says, he mismatekes besod chamisha osios shehem the mansapach. These are the sweetened dinim, and it comes and sweetens the 350, the 320. So which a mansapach represents 5 gevuros. Keniska beparshas v'yera daf kuf aleph amud beis b'sisra Torah. V'ine chamesh gevuros elos. So what's pshat here? Hem beis rechem ha'isha yisod shebo. Now let's go back over this again. He says, what's going on? He had said previously that the mansapach, let's start at the top. Then he says, Ibisisra Torah. Ve'ini chamesh gevuros elu heim beis rechem ha'isha yisod shebo. So this represents her womb. Knizker. Now, it's interesting that the Matzepach, the Gevuros, they're shapers, and this is who's shaping the womb, or maybe what's inside of the womb. The womb Knizker be'idus niso is another Medaf Kufmen Beis Omid Beis. Ubachin zu nisakenet bechatzas achrona shalalayla. So this particular thing, this particular bechina, he says, the tikkun for it, that is the consent, he's talking about the womb. I think that's what he's talking about. This actually, the tikkun for this takes place, he's talking about the tikkun of the womb. It takes place after midnight. And how is it in fact that the womb, which is the place of the gestation, is their anpen and the nukva? He says, by learning that, learning Torah after midnight, and what it actually does is it adorns and decorates, brings the beautiful clothing to the matronisa. Then he goes, Kavan Shem Eled. So then, now you've moved on, and now you brought this mizmor in, and as a result of that, you've shaped up, you brought in this mansepach, and as a result of it, you've shaped up the womb of Ima, I guess. And what is that name? His name is Aleph Lamed Dalet. Now, the only thing I know about these names is that from the Zohar I've seen that they actually represents 3 lines. So the Aleph would be the right line, the Lamed would be the left line, and the Dalet would be in the middle. That's what all I know about it. So this name, Eled, which actually means I will give birth, it refers to the Leda of Leah. V'gam Hashem hazera be'ola begematria im kalaluso kaminyan Leah. So it's another reference to, it's talking about Leah and building Leah. So he said v'tzarik tekavein ki b'techila adayim v'locha b'choyakach v'hu l'mala b'pasach al chol Mosayach Yerushalayim. That's I believe that's in the Tikkun Rachel. Hamaskirim es Hashem al demilachem. So here al demilachem, what could be like unto you? When you say those phrases, this is also, let's see, this is the word, the same word again. V'tikaven eled. So v'tikaven ki oz hi barosha tevas aleph dalad lamed. V'atach and the hefach naasa eled. Then it switches and it becomes I will give birth. Besod haleda kenizker. And I had to read this again, try to understand what he said. So he says that, so we came through the mansepach, shaped up the womb. We got to this name, Aleph Lamed Daled, which means I will give birth. And it switched. But now he's going to say, what was it originally? So he said, it wasn't originally this idea that Leah is going to give birth. Because you see up there, the pasuk Mosayach Yerushalayim. Hamaskirim es Hashem al demiloch, whether you had the first letters of al demiloch. So he says, what is like to you? He says al lamed daled lamed aleph lamed daled lamed is the same words, but it's the letters makes the word edel. V'tikavin ki oz choya barosha tevos, this name. V'atar and the hefach v'naasa eled, but it switches as a result of this. The where I'm understanding it, the ingestion of this mansepach after midnight, besod haleda genizker, and now it's going to switch to the secret of birth. So we don't know too much about the birth of Leah. I'd like to know more what she gives birth to. Seder hamizmarim the Tikkun Leah. The da pam bam achas acherkach shemati b'morizal. Excuse me. I heard from my master, Sedach HaMizmorim HaNizkarim Le'el Ba'ofen Zeh, Ki L'David Mizmor L'Hashem Ha'aretz HaMoloa, Ein L'Omer Ela Acher Mizmor Shal Ya'anach Hashem B'Yom Tzara. Now there's something in there, but I don't know, but he's telling us the the order. Going on, he said, Siman Mizmorim, what is it? Siman Mizmorim Elo Hukach. Ki B'leil Hachol, during the weekdays, Sidran Hu Ka'ayel Ta'arog, Shehem Ka'ayel Ta'arog, Ya'anach Hashem B'yom Tzara, L'Hashem Ha'aretz Ha'maloa, Obeleil Rosh Chodesh Simonim Leah, Shehem Ka'ayel Ta'arog, which is Ka'ayel Ta'arog, L'Hashem Ma'umaloa, Elohim Yechanenu V'Yivarachenu. So they're spelling out the name Leah. Halaluka Oder Hashem B'Kol Levav. V'inyan Hu Ki Im Heim Leile Rosh Chodesh. If it's Rosh Chodesh, O Yomim She'ein Bahem Nefilas Apayim, Ein Levchos V'Dis Aval Ala Chorban. Gam Ein Lo Merkala Mizmarim V'Rapasukim Ela Yaska V'Yomim Mizmarim Elosh Simon Dacham Kolea Kabilvad, only say those ones. So he's giving us some insight in how this is laid out. V'achakach Ya'asok B'Torah, and then after that get involved in learning. Inyan Tshuva V'Rababachir Alav Be'esahi. So we're supposed to do Tshuva now. Gam Shark Tzarek Sheteda. She'acha Shekuvar Gemarta B'Kol Mizmorim Shel Halaluka Oder Hashem. Tzarek Shetivka, that you should cry to Balka, I don't know how to pronounce it, Tivka, B'Kol Laila Alav L'Secho, that you should cry about all the things you've done wrong. And look for Mechila. V'lechein acha shetoimach b'mizbach halaluka, toimer mizbach shel baba'olov, kulach b'bechir v'techina b'kasher. V'achar kach tomer ad ana b'chia b'tzion the mizbeh b'Yerushalayim, takom torachim tzion v'tivna chomos Yerushalayim. So a lot here is that what he's going through is actually what we're saying. Then you should get up from where you're sitting. Go someplace else, in the place where you've been crying, in the place where you have been. I'm not doing this myself. I'm thinking about. He's just telling us how this has to go. He says you're supposed to put the ash on your forehead in the place that it's filling. You're supposed to sit by the side of the door, by the mezuzah, because he said the mezuzah represents the Shechina. Because it had a little more explanation there. Lasok b'Torah ad alus hashachar, until the morning star. Keniska the ale, we mentioned that up above. So I think we're out of time for what we do today. I'm trying to get through this. I want to see what he's talking about and what's going on over here. So that's where we're at right now. Call to have a great day.